Good morning and welcome to the Salesian High School debate. I would like to thank Paul Nera and Ian McDonald for taking the time to tell us about the candidates and for agreeing to have this debate. The questions that I will ask the two students were written by various members of the Salesian High School History Department, and both candidates will have 2 minutes to respond to their questions. The first question is for Mr. McDonald. Here's the question. Would you consider it unseemly or not proper for 4 of the past 5 presidents to come from 2 families, the Bushes and the Clintons? What does this say about the United States and its political system?
All right. Well, we've obviously seen that the same families have been in power in the presidency of the United States. And I understand people who are saying, we want an outsider, we want a businessman who isn't in politics, who hasn't been around all these years and is lost in the system and is corrupt. I understand that call. But Mr. Trump is not the answer at all. He has no political experience, and he shows no interest in learning topics. During the primary debates for the Republican primaries, he was asked a question on nuclear missiles in the country, and he had no idea what it was, a specific subject. A few months later, he still had no idea on the same subject. He has no interest in learning. He says, we're just going to bomb the blank out of them. What kind of plan is that? What kind of plan is just giving executives money by lowering the effective corporate tax rate, and they keep it at the top? These ideas are not fully developed, they're not right. And just because Mrs. Clinton has the last name Clinton doesn't mean we shouldn't consider her as a presidential candidate.
Mr. Nera, same question.
Thank you. I have to say that I really don't think it's the Bushes that would be the same family, because the Republican nominee is Donald Trump. But I have to say that the Democratic Party has awfully won a lot of elections, including Bill Clinton, Obama, and Obama again for a second term. I don't think that it's such as a problem, but maybe an issue that there might be in the system. Because like the videos released, like emails that I've read, there is some corruption within the Democratic Party, and I've even watched a documentary that has labeled the Democratic Party as the corrupt party who only wants certain people to run as the candidate because they have a popularity to beat the Republican Party. Now, I think in 2008, Obama was the very popular candidate, and again in 2012. And now, in 2016, I think that the Democratic Party unleashed one of their biggest tricks of all. They want Hillary Clinton to run as the nominee. They even have emails sent saying that they rigged the primary election against Bernie Sanders. Now, Donald Trump is an outsider. I believe that this is very good because he's not controlled by anybody. He is for the American people. He's even said this. His campaign motto isn't "I'm with her." He has said, "I'm with you, the American people," and he wants to make America great again. Hillary Clinton, I think, is very selfish for herself because she wants people on her side. She doesn't want to be on the American side. Whether it be things that she's done or her campaign, I believe that she's very selfish. Donald Trump wants to fight for the American people. He wants to win for the American people, and he's going to make things great for the American people.
Thank you, Mr. Nera. The next question also goes to you, Mr. Nera. Mr. Trump has made illegal immigration a top priority of his campaign, and yet he hires illegal aliens to work on many of his business projects. Isn't that hypocrisy?
Thank you for that question. I would first like to say, I personally work for Donald Trump, and when I filled out the application, they make sure that you either have a passport as a U.S. citizen or your working visa. So I do not believe that Donald Trump has hired illegal immigrants to work for him, nor have I haven't done much research on it, but from working from him and doing the research I have done, I have not seen, or it does not look like it would be proposed that Donald Trump would be hiring illegals to build his buildings or work for him. Now, on the other hand, Donald Trump has made immigration a top priority because it is hurt, like I've said in the previous days, it is hurt in our country. Donald Trump is not a racist because he said Mexicans are bringing in drugs and they're bringing in crime. He is telling the truth because if you live in the border states, such as Nevada, California, Texas, they're going to know what goes on. They're going to know how poor our border is and how people can just walk right across. There's some places where there's not even a fence or there's a broken fence and people can walk right in and out. Now, I think this is a problem because, well, I don't think that it's a bad problem, but it's a problem where people come here and don't want to be documented. And Donald Trump has said, and I quote this, that he wants to make the citizenship process much easier and quicker for people who want to come to this country. So you tell me, if Donald Trump is a racist, why would he want to make the citizenship process for immigrants much easier and faster? That's what I want to know. So, on that point, Donald Trump has made immigration a top priority because he wants to protect this country. And in the Constitution, we have the right and the sovereignty to our borders. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Neera. The next question is for you, Mr. McDonald. How does Secretary Clinton intend to be Commander-in-Chief and make split-second decisions when she resigned as Secretary of State for Family Issues after Benghazi investigation testimony?
That's a tough one, it is. And what I have to say is that Mrs. Clinton does have a history of health problems. She had a blood clot in her brain back in 2012, but since then she has been treated, and we all know about the fall during the 9/11 memorial, but that was because of pneumonia, and she has also been treated for that. Now, because of the Benghazi hearings, that is unfortunately somewhat close to the time that she said she would not be returning to the Secretary of State position, but her medical records have shown that she was sick at the time, but now she is feeling better. She has been getting better. She has been hospitalized, she has had surgery done, and she is ready to be the Commander-in-Chief. She knows what it's like to make split-second decisions. She has been in the public office for 30-plus years. And from what Donald Trump has said in the split-second decisions at his debates, that's just not something that we need when we're being attacked by ISIS and he is going to just say, well, we're going to bomb the blank out of them. Not something this country needs. We need Hillary for that.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald. Mr. Neera, the next question is for you. Can you please tell us one area in which you believe Secretary Clinton is better fit to be President of the United States than Mr. Trump?
Thank you. I first off to say that, Ian, you did a beautiful job pivoting right off that question. I just want to say that. It asked about Clinton's family issues after she left Secretary of State, nothing about ISIS or why Donald Trump should not be president. Now, on to the question that was just handed to me. I got to think of this one.
You're going to think about it when you're the President of the United States and you're going to press that button to nuke them?
One good thing that I think Hillary would be better than Donald Trump is that she knows how to energize a crowd, but that's a tough one because Donald Trump does know how to energize a crowd, but Hillary Clinton has a lot of supporters behind her because she does follow morals of life. She doesn't follow morals of life such as abortion or other topics like that, but she does carry morals with her that many people do support her, and I feel like she's a better candidate when she talks politically correct, because Donald Trump, yes, we know that he's not the perfect speaker, but people do understand what he's trying to get across. So I got to give it that Hillary is a much better speaker than Donald Trump, but I wouldn't believe that just because of that she would be a better Commander-in-Chief. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McDonald, can you please tell us one area in which you believe Mr. Trump is better fit to be President of the United States than Secretary Clinton?
Well, this is obviously a tough part, but I have to say, similar to the situation in New York City when Mayor Bloomberg was in office, he was a businessman, but he ran for office and he came in, and he was one of the best mayors that New York City has ever seen. So having someone from the outside could change things up a little bit. He doesn't know all the procedures and the correct things to necessarily say, but when you go against what has been done all your life, that's how you bring change. And we do need change in our government. There is, of course, corruption everywhere. People are just getting in for the votes, and then they don't do anything that they say they're going to do. Now, Mr. Trump is calling for programs such as immigration and the ban of Muslims from entering the country. These are things that we haven't seen politicians do before, but it's change, and there are people who want that. So his campaign is the voice for people who don't have someone in office and in the government that want their voice to be heard. He is saying things that have never been said before. So he's bringing change, and that's something that we could really use in the government, and that's something Mrs. Clinton knows nothing about from her 30 years of experience in public service.
Thank you. The last segment will be, each one of you will be given 1 minute to make any last-minute statements to the Salesian voters. Mr. Nira, we're going to start with you.
Thank you. So I would like to say that Donald Trump really isn't the person that you think he is. People call him many things. People portray him as a bad person, but he really cares about the American people. He really cares about changing the way that we've been going. He really wants to, I know everybody says it, but he really wants to make America great again. He really wants to have us to prosper and be the strong country that we once were. Like, he wants us to be looked at like when we were looked at as when Ronald Reagan was president. Nobody wanted to mess with us, and now we get stepped on by Vladimir Putin, by Kim Jong-un, and in the Middle East. We get stepped on by all these different kinds of government and dictatorships. We cannot have this anymore. I know Donald Trump talks loud. He says things that shouldn't be said on TV, but he's right. Just because he's not talking politically correct doesn't mean that he's wrong. We've been talking politically correct for how many years? And look where it's got us. We need another outsider in office like Ronald Reagan. We need to have change in America. Hillary's 30 years in office, not in office, but as Secretary of State and Senator, and everything that she has done has only led to, yes, she has done things, but she's done things that haven't been good. She's lied about many things, and I don't believe that she would be good for this country because we cannot trust her. Donald Trump, yes, has lied about things, but minute things, not big things such as emails, killing 4 Americans, and many other email scandals from Hillary Clinton and the Democratic National Committee. I think that Donald Trump will talk the truth to the American people, let the American people know what's going on, and make America great again, because that's what he wants to do and that's what he will do, because he will keep his promises, because he is not controlled by anybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McDonald?
Well, one thing that Hillary can use from her 30 years of experience is knowing what it's like to be in the White House. The day she gets in, she doesn't have to go through the process that Donald Trump would of learning how the White House works, learning how our government works, learning how to be the President of the United States. She worked with Obama for 4 years. She knows what it's like to be in the Situation Room. She knows what it's like to get legislation done. She's done it for health care for children, health care for 9/11 first responders and victims. She knows what is necessary in the job and how to do it. She doesn't need to waste time learning how to do it. She can get right to improving our economy by making investments in small business and making sure the rich make their fair share in taxes. I know I pay my taxes in my paycheck, but a certain Mr. Trump does not. We need those dollars coming into our government so we can invest it in our country so we can make our country great again. Just because Mr. Trump says we're going to make America great again doesn't mean that anyone else can't use that statement, because Hillary will improve this country. We've seen a lot of political campaigns where people have said they're going to do something and they're not going to do it. But everyone's guilty of it. Even Ronald Reagan, one of the best presidents we've ever had, he's guilty of it. No one can accomplish everything. But I have my faith in Hillary Clinton that she has been there for so long. She knows exactly what to do, and she knows how she's going to do it the first day that she walks into that Oval Office. And she knows way better than Donald Trump will ever know. Thank you.
Thank you both very much for your help in ensuring that the students of Salesian High School cast educated votes on November 7th. Thank you, have a great day, and God bless the United States of America.